So Trump has been with the press and he is now begging to arrest President Obama, guys, after deeper investigation. I guess they found something or whatever the case is. I call it a huge deflection, especially after the Epstein files. But guys, let's get to this, guys, because this interview is absolutely insane. It's going to blow your mind.
But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined.
So if you guys don't know what he's claiming right now, he's basically saying that the President Obama's administration, they rigged the 2016 election, or they were rigging and trying to, you know, hide votes and whichever election, guys, they were trying to hide votes and trying to say that, oh, they were working with the Russians or whatever the case is. He's claiming that President Obama committed treason. President Obama he's already addressed this to the media multiple times, just admitting that, hey, yeah, Russians were involved within it. There were things that happened. However, there was nothing that was altered throughout that election. That's just the reality of it.
Even in other countries, you've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming. So President Obama, it was his concept, his idea, but he also got it from crooked Hillary Clinton. Crooked is a $3 bill. Hillary Clinton and her group, the Democrats, spent $12 million to Christopher Steele to write up a report that was a total fake report. Took 2 years to figure that out. But it came out that it was a total fake report. It was made up fiction. And they used that. Now, the one thing they weren't able to do was to, and probably the only thing I respect about the press in years is the press refused to write it before the election. They refused to put it in. The Steele report was a disaster. All lies, all fabrication, all admitted, and admitted fraud. She paid $12 million, and the Democrats, for that report to a wise guy named Christopher Steele. He wrote a phony report, and they wanted to get that report in before the election. And I'll tell you what,
Now, I'm going to tell you guys this right now, and this has been a huge thing going on as of late with President Trump. You know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't agree with a lot of things that he says. I'm going to just tell you this, though. Remember during the campaign and, you know, when he was going against Kamala and, you know, this was a big word that they were talking about back in the day. It was like word salad, word salad, word salad. This is exactly what he's been doing, especially when the press has been pressing him. Like, I mean, pressing him foot on his neck about these Epstein files. And guys, this is the biggest deflection I've ever seen ever. But like, seriously, people just want to see who is on the Epstein. Like, that's it. They just want to know who is on it. And you know, out of everything that he's talking about, he's not talking about anybody else. He's just quick to point the finger. It's all these other people. Whereas, you know, it's kind of obvious of who is on the list. It's kind of obvious, but I don't know. You guys let me know. Am I breaking this down right? Am I comprehending this the right way? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think Trump is on those files? Yes or no? And I've been trying to stay out of this, guys. If you haven't seen, I haven't been making a lot of videos about Epstein because, you know, there's a lot of this going on. But this right here has been blowing my mind, honestly.
About all the time, the fake news, how bad it is. But in this case, they wouldn't do it. They saw it, they read it, and they said, we don't believe it. And it was only after, substantially, like a month and a half after the election, that it got printed, and it was a big wisp. It was just like a bang of nothing, because the election had ended. If that report had gotten published by the New York Times or somebody, and I respect the Times for maybe only this, because they're crooked as you can be. They're a terrible paper, a crooked, corrupt paper. But for this one moment, They said, this is bullshit, we can't put this in. And neither could any other paper. Wall Street Journal's a lousy paper, very, very dishonest paper. As you see, I'm suing them for a lot of money because they do things very badly. It's got a nice name, but it's really, in my opinion, it's a terrible paper, and it can be corrupt. But just so you know, they didn't take the Steele report. It was the dossier. Remember the famous dossier? I called it the fake news dossier. The news wouldn't publish it. And I'm amazed. They had 2.5 months. It was finished. 2.5 months. That was supposed to be what was going to happen. And it got published a couple of months after the election. And frankly, nobody cared too much about it. But that was a big thing. No, we caught Hillary Clinton. We caught Barack Hussein Obama. They're the ones. And then you have many, many people under them. Susan Rice. They're all there. The names are all there. And I guess they figured they're going to put this in classified information and nobody will ever see it again. But it doesn't work that way. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because this is big stuff. Never has a thing like this happened in the history of our country. And by the way,
now you see how this entire, and I let this video play intentionally. Like, let's just let him talk. We hear it, we listen, and we're going to be as objective as possible. I'm not going to be biased in this video. I'm just going to, just let's just talk about it. Like, seriously, I'm going to just say this, guys. You listen at him talk the entire time, and don't get me wrong, whatever he's talking about could potentially be true. Who knows if it's true or not? I don't know. We need a fact check, whatever the case is, because they haven't released anything. They haven't released any of the files. He's just talking about, oh, this should happen. All this that's happening, he has yet to talk about what the people, specifically MAGA, wants to know. He's constantly just shooting shots everywhere, shooting everywhere, except for me. I'm trying to shield myself. I don't want anything to hit me, but I'm gonna shoot everybody else. That is exactly what's happening, and it's so hard to sit right here and watch it, because it's like, dude, just answer the question. Just release the files. Like, just give the people what they want. And you've got MAGA even. And guys, I'll bring you in a whole nother video about this. You got MAGA out here. They were mad about it. They were furious. And now they're like, oh, he's still a great president. Like, they're trying to back him. And this is an entirely new narrative that he's trying to bring out. He's trying to deflect it so hard. And it's working to the MAGA because they're so gullible. They do anything that Trump says. But like I said, I'm being as objective as possible, and I'm just listening to this, and I get it. I'm gonna acknowledge it. Whatever, it could be true. Whatever he's talking about with the the investigation back then. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. Why is this coming out right now, out of all times, when all people want to know is who is in the files?
It morphed into the 2020 race, and the 2020 race was rigged, and it was a rigged election. And because it was rigged, we have millions of people in our country. We had inflation. We solved the inflation problem. But millions and millions of people came into our country because of that. And people that shouldn't have been, people from gangs and from jails and from mental institutions, people that we don't want in our country, and people that we're getting out, dangerous people. 11,888 murderers, many of them 50%, more than 50%, murdered more than one person. I hate to say this with such a distinguished guest, but they asked me a question. I got to answer the question. No, Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him, and so was Sleepy Joe Biden, and so were the rest of them. Comey, Clapper, the whole group. And they tried to rig an election, and they got caught. And then they did rig the election in 2020. And then because I knew I won that election by a lot, I did it a third time, and I won in a landslide. Every swing state won the popular vote. But I won that all the same way in 2020. And look at the damage that was caused. But that report has gotten lost, and it shouldn't be lost. You should all go back. It should be mandatory reading. Go back and read the Horowitz report on Comey and his cronies. And you'll see exactly, we're going to add that to all the stuff that we found. It just confirms it. But what we found is even more so. Now, we found absolute, this isn't like evidence or this is.
We are how many minutes into it? We are almost 6 minutes into this video. Mind you, they've made cuts into the video. Like, this isn't like, a straight talk. They've cut certain perspectives of, like, we're 6 minutes into this, and we're like, oh my God, seriously. And this isn't like a speech in front of the people. This is a press conference. This is people just asking questions. He's talking to Fox News right now, and it's just, this is hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie to you. And like I said, once again, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. I'm not trying to be biased, and I get it. I'm accepting information. It invalidates everything that he's saying right now, because all this is coming out right now as people are calling, as he's getting all this pressure, all this backlash from the fouls. That is quite literally the only thing people care about right now. Why are you talking about this when everybody, that's all they want to see right now? Like, seriously, this is, oh man.
It's like proof, irrefutable proof that Obama was seditious, that Obama was trying to lead a coup. And it was with Hillary Clinton, with all these other people, but Obama headed it up. And, I get a kick when I hear everyone talks about people I never even heard of. It was this one. No. It was Obama. He headed it up. And it says so right in the papers. Got everything.
Okay.
Got everything. This is the biggest scandal in the history of our country. And it really goes on to even the auto pen, because it all relates to the same thing. It all started the same sick minds. You have an auto pen, which is a tremendous, well, we don't have a president. We have an auto pen that signs everything. I'll bet you sign everything. You don't have auto pens. Everybody. Who doesn't sign? You're the president of a country. But it's all that whole thing leading right up to the end of it is the auto pen. And the auto pen was used by people, and Biden knew nothing about it. Biden knew nothing about it. They were signing documents that he knew nothing about. As an example, they released the Unselect Committee of Liability. The Unselect Committee spent 2 years grilling everybody, and then they destroyed all the evidence. You know why? Because the evidence made them guilty, and he gave them all a pardon. The Cheney, all the scum that was on the Unselect Committee, Cryan, Adam Kinzinger, and Democrats, and he gave them a pardon. Do you have something else, guys?
I was going to add one more thing on Adam Schiff. Director Pulte reports that Adam Schiff claims he lived in a one-bedroom apartment. Now, how does a family of four, you're a developer, a very successful developer, how does a family of four live in a one-bedroom apartment?
No, it looks like Adam Schiff really did a bad thing. They have him. Now, let's see what happens. It's not up to me. It's not up to, I stay out of it purposely. But it's mortgage loan fraud. It's a big deal. He defrauded banks and insurance companies and the federal government.
So I'm gonna leave it right here, guys. You let me know what you think about that entire press conference in the comment section below, because I seriously, that was very hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie, but I guess the few takeaways from this is, I mean, yeah, they're trying to dig back into the investigation of the 2020 election. They're also trying to deflect from the files that everybody around the world wants them to release, and whether Trump is on it or there are many world leaders on it or whoever is on the list, people just want to know who is on the list. That is quite literally the only thing that people have been talking about right now. That is it. But at the end of the day, I try to be as objective as possible when I make these videos, and I try, but they make it so hard. Y'all let me know. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If y'all want more, I got more videos. You've even got Trump out here. He's posting on his, social media platform of, Obama, President Obama, in handcuffs, getting arrested. Same thing with President Biden. Like, all these people, out of everything going on right now, he's the president of the United States. Just sit there and seriously, just sit there and think about that right now. It doesn't invalidate, it discredits anything he's saying right now, because right now he's just shooting shots around the entire world and he's backed into a corner, and he's just saying stuff to get himself out of this situation. That's it. I don't know. This is crazy, but I'm gonna leave it right there. I'll see you next video. We out. Let's go.